What Google has been quietly, persistently, and in many cases dramatically accumulating on your device and your Google account across the multiple services and applications and cloud storage systems and data caching mechanisms and locally stored file collection that the full ecosystem of Google products creates on and around every device where those products are installed and every account where those services are active, without ever presenting you with a single clear, complete, honest, and easily understandable picture of exactly how much of your storage, both on your physical device and in the cloud, Google's various products and services are consuming, how that consumption is distributed across the different categories and the different services, what specific types of data are responsible for the largest portions of the total, and what specific actions you can take to eliminate the storage consumption that you do not need, do not want, and did not knowingly authorize when you installed the applications, signed into the accounts, and began using the services that have collectively been accumulating your data, caching your content, storing your files, and growing their footprint on your storage resources in ways that most users discover only when they receive the storage full notification that interrupts their ability to take a photo, install an application, download a file, or conduct any other storage consuming activity at the moment, when the cumulative storage consumption of Google's products and services has finally crossed the threshold of their total available storage capacity and brought the uncomfortable confrontation with reality that Google's storage management interface has never proactively and clearly prompted is more than you think, substantially more than the obvious categories of photos and emails and documents that most people consider when they think about Google storage consumption. And the gap between what you think Google is storing and what Google is actually storing represents an opportunity to recover significant amounts of both device storage and cloud storage through the specific, actionable, and immediately executable clearing steps that this video is going to walk you through in enough detail that you can follow them right now and see an immediate, measurable, and in many cases, dramatically significant reduction in the total storage that Google's ecosystem has been consuming on your behalf without ever clearly showing you the full extent of what has been accumulating. The Google Photos storage problem, the specific way in which Google Photos has been managing and accumulating storage on both your device and in your Google Cloud Storage account, is typically the largest single source of Google storage overconsumption for the majority of users, and understanding the multiple distinct layers of storage that Google Photos creates is essential for addressing the problem comprehensively rather than partially, because Google Photos maintains storage in at least 3 separate locations that each require different actions to address, and that together can account for a storage footprint substantially larger than the straightforward count of your photos and videos that most users consider when they think about their photos' storage consumption. The original files on your device, the full resolution photos and videos that your camera app creates, and that are stored in your device's local storage in the DCIM folder and other camera storage directories, represent the first layer of photos storage, the layer that most users are aware of, and that represents the starting point of the storage problem, but that for users who have enabled Google Photos Backup represents only a portion of the total storage impact because the local files are often retained on the device even after they have been successfully backed up to Google's cloud storage, creating a situation of unnecessary duplication where both the device and the cloud are storing the same content simultaneously. The Google Photos cache, the collection of thumbnail images, preview files, locally cached versions of cloud photos that the application has downloaded to enable faster browsing of your cloud library and other temporary files that Google Photos creates and maintains in the device's cache storage to support its performance and its offline access features, represents the second layer of Photos-related storage that accumulates independently of the original files, and that can grow to a substantial size on devices where Google Photos is heavily used and where the cache has never been cleared, consuming device storage that the user has never explicitly allocated to Google Photos, and that appears in the device's storage statistics as cache rather than as application data or user files. The Google One cloud storage that holds the backed up versions of your photos and videos, the actual cloud storage consumption in your Google account that accumulates as Google Photos backs up the media files from your device over time. And that counts against the 15 gigabytes of free cloud storage that Google provides to every account holder. Across Google Drive, Gmail, and Google Photos combined, represents the third layer of Photos-related storage, and the one that is most likely to require either a paid Google One subscription upgrade or a deliberate effort to delete content that is no longer needed from the Google Photos cloud library to bring cloud storage consumption back within the free tier limit or within whatever paid tier the user is subscribing to. The specific actions needed to address each of these 3 layers of Google Photos storage begin with using the Free Up Space feature within the Google Photos application itself, which identifies photos and videos on the device that have already been backed up to the cloud library and offers to delete the local copies to recover device storage while preserving the backed up versions in the cloud, representing the single most immediately impactful action available for recovering device storage consumed by Google Photos on devices where backup has been enabled and where local copies of backed up media have been accumulating. Clearing the Google Photos cache requires navigating to the device's application settings, finding Google Photos in the list of installed applications, accessing the application's storage information, and using the Clear Cache option to delete the accumulated cache files that the application has been building up over time, recovering the device storage consumed by preview files, thumbnail images, and other cached content that the application can regenerate as needed from the original files or from the cloud library without any permanent loss of photo or video content. Managing the cloud library storage in a Google account requires accessing Google Photos through the web browser or the application, reviewing the content of the cloud library to identify photos, videos, and other content that can be deleted because it is no longer needed, using the storage management tools within Google Photos to identify and remove blurry photos, screenshots, and other low-value content that is accumulated in the cloud library without contributing meaningfully to the photo archive that the user actually values, and if necessary, downloading content to external storage before deleting it from the Google Photos cloud library to ensure that no desired content is permanently lost in the process of recovering cloud storage space. The Gmail storage problem, the accumulation of email content in the Gmail cloud storage that has been growing throughout the user's entire history of Gmail usage, and that in many cases has reached a scale that the user has never examined or estimated with any accuracy, because Gmail's generous storage allocation has allowed the accumulation to continue without ever triggering the kind of storage pressure that would have prompted a natural examination of what has been collecting in the account over years or decades of email use, is typically the second largest component of Google storage overconsumption for most users, with the specific categories of email content that consume the most storage being the emails with large attachments that arrive regularly as documents, presentations, images, and other files are shared via email and stored in the Gmail account indefinitely unless the user deliberately deletes them. The Gmail search approach to storage recovery, using Gmail's search operators to identify and bulk delete the categories of email that consume the most storage, including emails with large attachments, promotional emails from mailing lists that have been accumulating for years, social notification emails from platforms that generate high volumes of automated messages, and the full range of other email categories that contribute to Gmail storage. Consumption without providing proportionate ongoing value to the user is the most efficient and most comprehensively effective approach to recovering significant Gmail storage quickly, because the ability to search for all emails larger than a specified size and delete them in bulk, or to search for all emails from a specific mailing list sender and delete years of accumulated promotional content simultaneously, allows the recovery of substantial Gmail storage through a relatively small number of deliberate and targeted deletion actions, rather than the impractical alternative of reviewing and deleting individual emails one by one from an inbox that may contain hundreds of thousands of messages accumulated over years of use. Google Drive storage, the collection of documents, spreadsheets, presentations, PDFs, images, and other files that have accumulated in the user's Google Drive over years of use through both active creation of content and passive receipt of files shared by others, is the third major component of Google Cloud storage consumption, and the one whose accumulation is perhaps the most invisible to most users, because Google Drive's interface does not prominently display total storage consumption, or highlight the files consuming the most space without the user specifically navigating to the storage management view that sorts Drive files by size and makes the largest consumers of cloud storage visible. Google Drive Storage Audit, accessing Google Drive through the web interface, navigating to the storage view that sorts all Drive files by size from largest to smallest, and working through the largest files to identify content that can be deleted because it is no longer needed, that can be downloaded to local storage and then removed from Drive to free cloud storage while preserving the content, or that can be shared differently to avoid unnecessary duplication in the Drive storage, is the essential first step in recovering significant Drive storage, and should be conducted by every Google account holder who has been using Drive for any significant period of time and who has never previously audited their Drive storage by file size. The Google Application Cache Accumulation on Android devices, the collection of cache files that individual Google applications, including YouTube, Google Maps, Google Chrome, Gmail, Google Search, and the full range of other Google applications that most Android users have installed create and maintain in the device's cache storage to support their performance, their offline capabilities, and their various features, represents a category of device storage consumption that accumulates across multiple applications simultaneously and that can collectively reach a substantial size on devices where multiple Google applications are heavily used and where the cache has never been systematically cleared. The process of clearing the cache accumulation from multiple Google applications simultaneously, rather than clearing each application's cache, individually through the device's application management settings, can be accomplished most efficiently on Android devices through the storage management settings that provide a cache clearing option applying to all applications simultaneously, or through the systematic individual clearing of the largest cache consumers identified through the application-by-application storage view in the device's settings that shows which specific applications are consuming the most cache storage. The Google account data accumulation that extends beyond the three primary categories of Photos, Gmail, and Drive to encompass the data that Google stores in association with the account through services including Google Calendar's attachment storage, Google Meets recording storage, Google Chat's file sharing history, and the full range of other Google services that create storage consumption in the Google account alongside the primary storage consumers, represents additional categories of cloud storage that users who have been using the full Google ecosystem of services need to examine when conducting a comprehensive audit of their total Google storage consumption and seeking to recover storage through the deletion of accumulated data that is no longer needed. The Google Account Storage Management page, accessible through the Google Account settings at myaccount.google.com or through the Google One application, and providing a breakdown of total storage consumption across the different Google services that contribute to the account's storage usage, is the essential starting point for any comprehensive effort to understand and to address the full scope of Google's storage consumption in the user's account, because it provides the high-level overview of where storage is being consumed across the account that allows the user to prioritize their storage recovery efforts toward the services and the content categories that represent the largest portions of their total consumption. The locally stored application data that Google applications maintain on the device beyond the cache files, the persistent application data that Google applications store for features including offline access, saved preferences, downloaded content, and the various other capabilities that require local storage of data that persists between sessions, represents a category of device storage consumption that clearing the cache alone does not address, and that requires either the use of the Clear Data option in the device's application management settings for individual Google applications, or the uninstallation and reinstallation of applications whose persistent data has accumulated to a size that cannot be justified by the ongoing value of the offline capabilities and saved content it provides. The automated storage management option, that Google provides within the Google Photos and Google Drive applications, including the option to automatically delete device local copies of photos and videos after they have been backed up, the option to receive storage management recommendations based on analysis of the account's content, and the option to automatically empty the trash in Google Photos and Google Drive at regular intervals rather than retaining deleted content in the trash for the default 30-day period during which it continues to consume storage, represent configuration changes that can significantly reduce the ongoing rate of Google storage accumulation beyond the immediate recovery achieved through the active clearing and deletion steps described throughout this video. The Google One storage subscription decision, the choice between accepting the storage limitations of the 15 gigabyte free tier and investing the clearing and management effort required to stay within it, and purchasing a paid Google One subscription that provides expanded storage capacity in exchange for a monthly or annual subscription fee, is a decision that the storage recovery actions described in this video may make easier by reducing total consumption to a level where the free tier is adequate, or may clarify by revealing a genuine ongoing need for storage capacity. Beyond what the free tier provides that makes a paid subscription the most practical long-term solution for managing the Google storage needs that years of accumulation and active ongoing use across the full Google ecosystem of services are generating. Clear your Google storage today. Work through the specific actions this video has described for Google Photos, Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Application Cache. Use the Google Account Storage Management page to identify the highest priority targets for your recovery effort, implement the automated management options that will reduce ongoing accumulation after the immediate recovery is complete, and make the informed decision about whether the free storage tier is adequate for your ongoing needs, or whether the practical convenience of a paid storage subscription is worth the cost of eliminating. The storage management effort that the 15 gigabyte free tier limitation requires from users who are actively using the full ecosystem of Google services that this video has helped you understand are consuming more of your storage than you thought. See you in the next one.